All right. What's going on, gentlemen?
Nino, as I live, how you doing?
I'm doing as best as I can. I'm trying to patch up this brain leakage that I got right now after having spoken to both the DOJ and members of the police department.
Yeah, some scar you got going on in my head there. You all right?
Yeah, but people don't drive very well, so I've been getting in a lot of car accidents.
Okay.
So,
Mark says you running for mayorship.
That is correct.
He said you want to chat. What you want to chat about?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I about 2 weeks ago attempted to, I figured, I do a couple cell reps here, there, nothing, it's something light. I've since was met with a series of problems. Fiona Stewart, if you're familiar with her, was forced into becoming a hostage by the police department at a cash exchange. Now, no report was written, and when we went into the police department to, get some police report written, I was told that she had to wait 5 days to get a report that was being written right then and there. So I called the dispatcher useless and left, got the report written, and then started looking to see where this person had the audacity to talk down to a victim and say something as dumb as she did. Turns out that FOIAs, the means by which lawyers like myself can defend y'all, was not in legislation.
Wow.
Which means that if any lawyer, if any cop decided, you know what, red tie, they just didn't have to give the paperwork, and then statute of limitation ends, and now you're hosed. I brought this up to the high command members, who spent the entirety of those conversations victim blaming and saying, well, if you're going to buy a $10,000 license, maybe you should make sure that, the cops do their job and put the report in. Fuck you.
Jesus Christ.
That when I came in there with a very hey, let's find a middle ground until legislation is passed, they somehow miraculously found out that it's not in legislation and gave me the, what are you going to do about it? And then they started talking shit about me. Now, I don't really care what people say about me. I've been through that. But what I care about is people that are supposed to be defending our rights, protecting us, acting like civilians. For example, this one guy, let me see, what's his name? Wendell something, who's been robbed nonstop for months, wakes up to a warrant. Wakes up not only to a warrant for negligent usage of a firearm, but is told by Officer Riker, who conflicted a judge off the case, that the warrant is going to be indefinite beyond 30 days, which is unconstitutional, and that it was signed off by Assistant Chief Ruby York.
Jesus fuck.
Now, what are you supposed to do? These cops, they get 2 arrests a day, roughly. Check the newspaper at night. But their warrant list is stacked, 50% of which are criminal negligence of a firearm. And then they're taking the license without any charges. We can't do anything. Well, so what I did is, eventually, I shook enough branches that the Chief Justice met me on Saturday, Alan Crane. And you could tell the way he approached me that people were bitching about me, as if I'm causing a problem for just asking for a FOIA, asking for my client's documents, like I fucking murdered their sister or their child or something. We walk away from that conversation with him telling me, all right, I'm going to go sit on a hill and I'm going to put this into legislation. Even though people are supposed to have read it correctly. Even though it's very clear that the PD is interpreting it wrong. That they should just magically know how it should work. Monday comes along. I go talk to this guy. And all of a sudden he's telling me I need specific fucking examples, even though we concluded already that the FOIA needed to be put in. He didn't want to do any of it. So we got in a bit of an argument. I told him, shut the fuck up and start writing. So he did. And now we got new legislation. One of only 20 pieces of legislation that have passed. Because I started shaking the branch. Only to then find out he plagiarized Judge Bailey. Judge Bailey was the one who wrote the draft, not him.
Interesting.
Now, you might be wondering, what does this have to do with my mayoral campaign?
Right.
It's very simple. A framework for legislation was put into place 7 months ago, in which attorneys like myself, the judges, the people of Los Santos exercise those laws so that when there are holes in it, they get filled. But in the past 7 months, this dog shit of a fucking council has done nothing but pass a bunch of bullshit.
Amen. Amen.
Where Molten FOIA document, if you were to see it with your own eyes, it is like a man fell out of the bed half drunk, wrote some bullshit, and then no one challenged it. Where the now Murphy Braun told all the lawyers that they're a bunch of crying, whiny bitches because they can't do their job. Fuck them. Fuck Max. Fuck Siobhan. Fuck Crane. Fuck literally everybody except for Cantor. They need someone like myself who has experience running a business, running it like an executive branch. I would like to do the following. Number one, the council should be held accountable. On the first week, I want to pass legislation that allows you, the people, to be able to have a process by which you can do a vote of no confidence and pull that motherfucker out. That means I fear you, not the other way around. Number two.
Okay.
Department of Commerce, consisting of individuals that have expertise in business and have the apt, if they've got expertise in business, but also are willing to put in the work today, that can go and review business proposals coming in, and then on record, publicly available, say why they are approving it or why they are going to decline it. And if they're going to decline it, what that individual needs to do for a better successful application. So that one individual, which would be me if I get elected, would not be able to say, you know what, Marty, I didn't like the way that you looked at me, denied. That's bullshit.
You better watch your tone.
It's got to be something like denied because, look, X, Y, and Z, there's this and that. So now you actually get feedback, and I'm held accountable due to the transparency. Number three, what I'm currently calling the Bar Association, so it's going to be called something else, more than likely, that empowers the lawyers of Los Santos to look after themselves, where their issues and grievances don't just go through the head of bar, but also they have a vehicle by which they, who have more knowledge about y'all's. Do you have a lawyer today, like one that you lean on?
When he's around, yeah. His name is Robin. He's a great lawyer.
Robin. Oh, he's a great guy. I actually just got off the phone with him. I want someone like Robin. He knows more about what you guys do and your grievances than anyone in the sitting council will be able to do. I want them to be legislators. I want you to be able to go to Robin and be like, I want you to go draft a new piece of legislation. And that him having that bar association there to be able to review it and put in their input. And then when it's ready, he could pass it up to the council. Already 90% of the work is done. And now there's an avenue for which individuals in Los Santos can get a piece of legislation passed. I look at this as something as being very simple and straightforward. Accountability, transparency, and running the government like a fucking business. And the reason I approach you guys is not obviously I would like your vote, but I also want it as a means by which you can ask me any questions you want. And, what do I need to do to get you to help me get in position?
How do you feel about masks?
The mask mandate?
Just masks in general. How do you feel about them?
I don't wear them. Not really my main concern.
How do you feel about the vaccine?
Which one?
All of them.
Vaccines are a personal choice. It should be something that someone decides on their own accord. I don't think anyone should be gaslit into doing it. It's good for public health, but due to the fact that COVID vaccine is based on new technology, even though it's from the 90s, it has not been put into public consumption until recently. As a side effect of that, there are real legitimate concerns over that technology, because what if it causes problems? Because they're not like traditional vaccines where the virus is damaged and then your immune system reacts to it. Instead, it is effectively recoding the way your body functions. And while it may be good in the general sense of things, you should still be asking questions, and telling someone they're stupid for asking a question is the epitome of that very thing.
Are you willing to dismantle the council?
Yes. In fact, not only, well, so I think I'm already looking to get Max and Murphy impeached, who's looking to get Siobhan and Max impeached. Solomon's already off of there. Hornware is nowhere to be seen, so it's pretty much already dismantled itself. However, I want a means by which you can dismantle it in the future, but I want to replace it with a political party. Myself, I'm leaning on Kit Archer as someone a part of my circle, but also I'm going to be speaking with other potential members of that seat who are looking to put the people and their rights first, and coming in with a strong, majority. So,
Can I be the governor of Cyprus?
so in order to be are you familiar with what Soze's doing?
No idea.
Well, there's a whole thing regarding that. The DOJ and Soze are currently in a battle to define whether the Constitution only is enacted, where the Constitution is set by the federal government, but the legislation that is currently passed is only under the authority of Los Santos. What are the borders? Does it exist with other areas? So things like that is something that needs to be figured out. But I do think that along these lines is a group called Hades that wants to see focus being put onto Sandy, so it's not just a dead place. I do share some, like, well, let me cut the chase here. Is right now the hospital is the only location where doctors can function out of. I don't think it's unreasonable for the Sandy Hospital to be operational. I don't think it's unreasonable for the psych department to operate. I was going to be a psychologist with Pixie like 7 months ago. What the fuck? So I want to understand why those things aren't happening and why there can't be like private practices. Now, I can understand that doctors like helping people up, like fucking pulling their bullets out of their bodies might be a problem. But look, when the police department is using a hospital as an easy means to catch someone, that is jeopardizing public health. That shouldn't happen. There needs to be alternatives for the sake of the safety of the public. So what I'm trying to say here is I do think there is room for people to be voices, be it a governor or like something else for different sections of Los Santos. Polito has a voice. Los Santos has a voice. Maybe Cypress has a voice. I think there's reason for there to be avenues there, but I think that is hard to approach until the basic building blocks and the cracks in our legislation is fixed first.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Listen, Nino, look. We have about, like 50 to 60 people that we can get to vote for you, no problem. And we'll do it.
Oh, whoa. I got a question first, real quick.
Mars got a question.
All right. Nino, I know you mentioned the streamlining of business proposals, but I want to know, in your opinion, why do you think businesses currently aren't prominent, and like what plans you have to counteract that other than
that's
good one.
Are not prominent? Is that what you said?
Yeah, like
Yep.
Yeah, we don't really see as many
1000%.
businesses these days.
So Mary had a very similar question when I spoke to her, and she had brought up the question of, well, what's the value of a business license? Some businesses are operating, in the shadows. Is the government come in? Like, police go after them. I rather take a much more carrot on the stick approach, which is the following. Why does anyone not need a business? It's because inherently this business law that's been passed is very predatory on business creators. by straight up saying no, 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 no. Instead, we should be saying yes, 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 yes. That if you have a business license, you should get the benefits from it. Not just from the authorities, but actual benefit from the company. So people, instead of saying, let's evade the cops, they say, yo, we need this because we get this, right? And then what that does is it gets people interested in starting the businesses. Now, when they become successful, that should open up stipends and things like that, right? Benefits instead of restrictions. And I think once we start doing things like that, now all of a sudden, the prominence of the business starts to go up, right? So if you're selling food on a corner, right, you don't get the benefits that running a restaurant would, because that restaurant's getting pushed with stipend and other benefits instead of worrying about the cops need to come and find some guy selling a sandwich on the side of the road.
Right. Fuck, I had a question. I just brain farted leading into that. Oh, right. How do you feel about like how would you keep it fair? You know, back in the good old days, you know, I felt like we had a very fair system when it came to businesses. People didn't really get cock blocked because, you know, Max and Shaban didn't fucking like it because apparently they fucking look and approve and deny every single business that comes through the DOJ. Do you look to do something more fair than what they do?
I have firsthand experience from what he did. I was running Los Santos Customs. I would argue one of, if not the first, businesses in the city. We were doing it's how I bought this bike and a house. I was making sure my employees were paid and that people are getting fair pricing. We had to deal with Vinny Pistone driving the price of shit down to the ground. And all of it was because Juno Sweeney had a problem with Eve Summers, who was just selling some materials. She whispered in Max's ear, and then he had the audacity to tell me that I'm never going to get a license because he thought I was lying about it. And so,
Jesus.
I hope she's dead. I already put a hit out on her. Fuck her. I hope she dies. And none of that shit should ever happen in the future. The solution to that is through the the Department of Commerce, who needs to be documenting approvals and disapprovals so you and anyone else can see why the business was approved or not. So that way, if like you can't get away with just saying, I don't like you, there needs to be a legitimate documented reason.
That's smart. I like that.
Yeah.
I got a bit of a loaded question for you.
Yeah.
Do you see a way? So a massive problem, for example, myself, right? When I started the union back in the day, down at the material yard, you know, we try to essentially control material prices to make it fair for everybody. But why me and my crew gave up is because everybody in this fucking city are a bunch of fucking brain dead fucking morons and would absolutely tank the price of materials just because. We ran into one guy, right?
They would say that again? They would what?
They would just tank the price of materials. They never cared about
the Vinny Pistone approach. Yep.
The Vinny Pistone approach. Yeah, we ran into one guy, and I straight up asked him. You know, we were trying to sell materials. I think it was like $6 per at the time, and he was selling for $3. And I asked him, "Why the fuck are you doing this?" And he says, "I don't do this for the money."
So I think that there needs to be regulation, and I think that's where the there was some conversation with this with Max, and then he didn't do anything with it. And this is before he pretty much fucked me. I think there needs to be the Department of Commerce should consider regulation, which means that you should not be able to sell things under market value. Inherently, what that does is it protects the little guy, right? Whether you're doing sanitation, whether you're making pots or whatever, so everyone gets a fair wage. And I think that is a possible short-term approach, but I'm definitely open to other avenues.
Okay, listen, you got our vote. I don't see anybody else fucking running that actually gives a shit. And quite frankly, Max, I believe has done nothing but waste his fucking time and play king as the mayor. And we actually need a mayor that gives a fuck about the city. So you have my vote and my people's vote, which is about maybe 50 to 60 people, guaranteed.
Oh, yeah. If there's anyone, it does go a long way letting folks know I am running as I remember, Oswaldo is one of the opponents, and if you recall, he is very good at farming them.
Yeah, we got your back. Well,
All right.
I'll spread the word, make sure my people twat it out, and like I said, we guarantee a lot of votes, so I don't really see a way you lose.
Hell yeah. In about
Especially
48
against
hours,
Osvaldo, respectfully.
yeah, I hope to God. He's so in 48 hours, I'm gonna have a website out with all my talking points, things that you can hold me accountable for. So keep an eye out on that. It will
When
all
is
be
the
public.
election?
I believe the election is on the 17th. It's in about 2 weeks.
Shit, okay.
So
Do you have a slogan? We can work
vote
on that.
Nino Chavez so you can have, you know, your Osvaldo's and Preds not fucking you in the ass.
Ooh, I like that. I like that. It's a great slogan.
Yeah.
That's a great fucking slogan. That's like PTSD type shit right there. That's
Yeah,
good.
exactly. Exactly. I
All right.
think Siobhan and Max did a great job spending 7 months campaigning for me with the disaster that they're leaving behind.
That's another good slogan, actually. Jesus, that's savage.
Yeah.
All right, any questions, boys? Are we good? Any questions, Clark?
Nope.
Martin?
No.
All right,
now.
easy. If you know
right.
anyone that's lost their weapons license recently without any formal charges or has criminal negligent firearm warrants out, please send them my way. We're working on legislative change that's currently being worked on, as well as filing a class action lawsuit for illegal search and seizure without cause.
Understood. Will do. Appreciate you,
All right.
Nino.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Marty. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate
You
it.
know,
Good talk.
if you want to win, the way Max did it was he campaigned 24 hours. Next tsunami is very important. So
Yes.
if you really want to win, yes, it's
I
very
think-
important and it's a lot of votes.
I think you're right about that. And I think that's why I'm going to Ghana enough of a potty and keep it all public so people can help me do it when I'm asleep and point at something and make myself available all the time.
Okay.
So,
All right.
I
Good luck.
appreciate
I have
that.
a
Thank
few
you,
questions
Monty.
for you. I'd like to have a sit down sometime in the future. Okay?
yeah, anytime. Give me a call. Make myself available.
All right. All right.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
You take care.